My name is Andrew Alovi Endovo. Um, I was born on a street in Langata. My father and my mother were trying to go to hospital. They lived in Kibera in the slums. And they were trying to get my mom to hospital because she was in labor. But I think I started being impatient even when I was still in the womb. So I came on the way to the hospital. So I was born by the roadside in Kibera somewhere. There's a couple of friends I went with to primary school who have remained friends to me up to now. I have a friend called Norman. He's been my friend from primary school. Then we went to the same university. We hung out and see each other every other 2 days. And a couple of other friends. I have a friend called Valerie and a sister called Barbara that we've been in touch ever since primary school for sure. So I went to a primary school in Kisumu. It's called Bayani Primary School. It's a private school, Asian run, and I think it still exists to date. So for high school, so after clearing primary school, now I went to Western Province. I studied in Kakamega High School. Then we used to try and be cool and call it the African Government School, Kakamega, but it's really Kakamega High School. So I participated heavily in drama and in choir. As you know, when back in the day, under the reign of Oliver Minishi, Kakamega High School had some of the best plays in the country, and we almost always won the National Drama Festival. So I was actively involved in drama in first term, and then in second term I was an active member of the school choir. I know some people might doubt this, but I used to sing. I actually participated in bass solos, and I actually won a couple at KICC at the Nationals. Initially, when my father was alive, he wanted me to be a pilot. My father was an academician, a disciplinarian, and so when growing up, I was studying knowing that I needed to be a pilot, and for me to be a pilot, I had to be really good at my books. I need to, understand and pass my exams. Of course, as time went by, I realized maybe I am more afraid of heights than I wanted to admit. And so that dream died. And of course, when my father passed on, there was nobody to push me to become it. But that conditioning that I had for my brain, that I have to excel, I have to pass my exams, kept on pushing me with every level of education that I went to. My father was a very rich man. We had everything that we wanted when I was in primary school. When he passed on in my first year of Form 1, life took an about turn. So you're coming overnight because it was in a road accident. So you wake up one morning, road accident is gone. And so you're coming from a life of you can ask anything you want and you'll be given, to a life of you only need to ask if it's a matter of life and death. You can't ask. And so we now started experiencing things we never experienced before, being sent home for school fees, coming home and there is no food to eat because my mom, as a primary school teacher, didn't have enough to take care of all of us. And so life, through high school and through campus was very trying and very challenging. It was strange for us because it's not how we had been raised before then. And so for us, and of course the alienation that comes with it, you had this very wealthy and influential father. Now he's gone and nobody cares about you, nobody visits you on your own. So I literally only had my mom and my brothers as my entire family, when we were growing up, and it was very challenging. And that's part of what made me say, if I don't pass my exams and get a good job, we are doomed as a family. And we all just had to put in the effort just to go through school and try all that we can so that we can get jobs and go back and help sustain our mother, and try and change lives. The course I studied in campus was the subject of a very emotional and heated debate with my mother. Like I said, so my mother wanted me to take a course that will give me a lucrative job so that I can make a lot of money and deliver her from poverty. And in her opinion, that had to be either law or medicine, okay? Of course I couldn't do medicine because I'm very scared of dead bodies. And like I said, in high school I was actively involved in drama. So part of the courses I'd failed, I think information science, all these things. But then I was called to Maseno to go and study creative and performing arts. And my mother only accepted that I'm taking that course when she came for my graduation. Throughout my campus life, she was like, what is this you're studying? What do you become? How much money do people make when they do this course? So, and like I said, my mother didn't have money. I'm one of the full beneficiaries of HELB. So HELB would pay my fees, and then I'd had to look for ways to raise money just to get food each day, to get supplies each day. And so if you ask those we studied with in Maseno, every month we were staging a play. So together with other guys who were interested in theater, we would work on a script, go and stage it and charge students to come and watch it, split the money, and that's how we'd get money for upkeep throughout campus. So that's what got me through campus, and just getting other jobs to do. There's a university function somewhere, go and lobby and say, guys, I can MC. They give you some 5,000 shillings. There's a student union activity happening, beauty pageant, say, hey guys, I can be a judge. That's how I actually made it through campus. So HELB only paid for my school fees, and as far as my mom was concerned, is if your school fees is paid, you're good. You can figure out the rest. So there's a play we did. I didn't write it though. It was written by Oliver Minishi, my teacher. It was called The Metamorphosis. I think that's one of the best scripts I've ever been part of. Full of humor, and back then it was putting the issues of the girl child to the forefront. Talking about a girl who's trying to go to school, wanting to become a pilot, and then she gets impregnated by this other boy. But then society, of course, sides with the boy, and so it takes us through the thinking of the African man back in the day and where we had placed the girl, and comes out to say strongly that there is a place for the girl in today's corporate table, and girls need to be encouraged. So The Metamorphosis is one of the best scripts I've ever been part of. Initially, it was actually an internship. There's a lady called Karunguta. She was putting up a play. The play was called Help, I'm Married. And because I'm just about to graduate with a degree in theater studies, she asked me to go in the cast and help with directing the play and doing a couple of the admin and marketing for the play. So that's what I did when I left campus, and I took that as my industrial attachment before I graduated. Now, in the cast, one of the people who was acting there, she was the head of station for a local radio station. But she was just, chasing a passion and saying, look, I think I'd like to act. So I engaged with her, and she's a head of station, and I spoke to her and I told her, look, I'm just about to graduate and I'm looking for a job. Is there anything you can give me to do? And automatically she interviewed me, and then I started working as a producer for a political talk show in a Christian radio station. So I started as a producer, just producing, coming up with topics, calling guests, the whole thing, working on promos. And then this show aired on Friday. Then one particular Friday, the host was unwell. He just lost his voice through a flu. And to such short notice that they couldn't find an alternative. And then I told the guys, you know what, I'll host the show. So Mark, you have been working here for 4 months. Nobody thinks I even have a voice that can go behind a microphone. And right there, at that instant, I went to host my first show unprepared. And the other guy never hosted again. I was maintained on the show, on radio, and I moved through different ranks, hosting different shows. Before now, I switched careers from media into marketing. Within that radio station, now one thing anyone I've worked with will tell you is I get very restless. If I do the same thing for over a year, I'll start getting restless and I need something new to do. So within that station, I started working with the marketing team. So we'd team up with them, come up with creative proposals to go and sell to clients, and that's when I started getting an interest in marketing. So for about 9 months, I was more of a marketer than a producer and a presenter at the station, because I was spending more time out in the field, speaking to clients, looking at marketing data, figuring out how can we change the image, the brand of the station sound. And that's what now enticed me into marketing. And it was during that period that I saw a vacancy at Nairobi Bottlers. They're looking for an experiential marketing manager. The truth is, at this point, look, I've only been doing marketing for about 9 months. I've not been to a single marketing class. And I still went for this interview, and somehow I passed, Have you ever settled into a job that you have to Google to say, so what does this person actually do? That was me back then, about 2009. And that's what started my journey in marketing as a career. I want to believe so, yeah. When I moved to Nairobi Bottlers to look after experiential marketing for Kenya, my life changed because my experiences were stretched. Working in an FMCG, like Nairobi Bottlers, where you're selling, fast-moving consumer goods, you get challenged, you get stretched, you get thrown in the deep end. There's so much pressure, there's very little room for failure. So my experience then, I think, was better than any experience you get in any marketing class. It was, The first time I had 12 people reporting to me. So you're getting a job in a capability you've not really studied, and then you have a team of 12 people that you need to give guidance and you need to lead, you know. So that is a point where I think my life actually changed, and it started a beautiful journey for me in the world of marketing. I'm privileged to be the project manager of Coke Studio. So basically, I'm in charge of all the work streams that put together this asset. We have different subject matter experts that look after different work streams. Mine is just to provide that leadership and oversight to make sure that the asset is happening and it is meeting the laid down business objectives. So when it comes to, you know, appointing agencies, coming up with the plans, securing funding and approvals for the project, all that rests with me. So Coke Studio as a concept exists in other Coca-Cola territories. There is Coke Studio Pakistan, who have done, you know, close to a decade in terms of seasons. There is Coke Studio in India. There is Coke Studio Middle East. Coke Studio originally started actually in Brazil. So this is an existing marketing platform for the Coca-Cola company that has existed in other geographies. What we did was to take the concept and localized it and made it relevant to the African consumer. The truth is, it's the consumers who pick who comes on the show. You know, as Coca-Cola, we invest a lot in research. And so we go out there and get consumer data, asking consumers to tell us who are the artists that they think they want to see on the show. So you'd go and ask a Kenyan consumer, who is your favorite Kenyan artist? Who is your favorite African artist? So if they come and tell you, for example, you know, Night Boy is my favorite artist, and we have 90% of the people saying Night Boy, then that tells us as a company that for this show to have meaning to the consumer and for it to be credible, then Night Boy needs to be on the show. When we ask you who's your favorite African artist, so now that's an artist outside of Kenya. So the Kenyans will now start saying, okay, from Tanzania, I like Rayvanny. From Nigeria, I like Mr. Easy. So we use all this data to determine who comes onto the show. The experience we want to sell to anyone watching Coke Studio is a journey of discovery. We want you to discover something new when you watch the show. Discover a new artist you didn't know about. Discover a new music style you didn't know about. Discover a new meal, a new culture, a new tradition from a different country that you do not know about. And we are sending a message of self-belief that as Africans, we need to believe in ourselves. If you look at the season we've done this time, it is 100% homegrown. Everybody that has been on the show and worked on the show is 100% African, and we actually have the rights to win on a global platform. So we're selling the message of self-belief that as Africans we need to believe that we have what it takes to compete on the global stage. I believe in God, and for me, God, I believe, is the reason I'm where I am today, is the reason I'm alive, and He has a plan for me, and I hope I get to live to fulfill that plan. Fear of failure is a big driver for me. If I'm going to do anything, I'd rather succeed. And if something is worth doing, then it's worth being done right. So when I set up my mind, I want to do something, because I fear failure so much, I'll move mountains and do whatever it takes for me to ensure that I succeed. And that, of course, plus I don't ever intend to go back to live the life I lived when my dad passed away. So I have to strive to be better and to be successful at what I do, so that myself and my children and the generations after them never have to see and struggle that much in life. One thing I'd like to assure everyone is that, one, success is not overnight. It cannot be overnight. If it is overnight, then it is not success. It is something else. And failing, when you try and you fail, you can decide to say I tried and I failed, or you can decide to say, well, I've learned one way how not to do what I was doing. Every day needs to be a learning experience. Nobody is perfect. If you look at us, even if you look at Coke Studio, if you look at what we did 6 years ago and what we're doing now, it's not the same. You have to keep on improving yourself. So every day of your life, what you need to strive for is progress, not perfection. So every day, ensure you've made progress. You might not be perfect, but make some progress. Whatever it is, make some form of progress. At the Coca-Cola company, we believe that we should work hard and then we play harder. And work-life balance is important for us here at the company. I have 2 daughters that I love very much. Adele, my firstborn, is turning 8. Amy, my secondborn, or temporary lastborn, just turned 3 last month. And I love these girls with all that I have. My mom is still around. And I have brothers who are in this town, and we get to speak and see each other. But most of all, I have an amazing circle of friends. Friends who are acting like the board members of my life. You know, people who call you out when you're on the wrong, people who cheer you on when you do it right, people you can cry with, people you laugh with. And these are the people who see me through the highs and the lows. And I value my friends so much. I'd like to tell you that if you don't tell your story, nobody will tell it better than you. Own your story, own your successes, own your failures, and most important, believe that you have a higher reason to exist on this side of the ground than just to breathe and move on with life. Let's identify what that purpose is, what that reason is, and every day chase that purpose. You won't get it right on the first day, you won't get it right in the 5th year, but whatever you do, every day wake up to chase that purpose that you believe is the reason for your existence on earth.